Recording. Oh. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness, it was the epic of belief, it was the epic of incredulity. Incred... Incred... Incredulity.
Incredulity. Incredulity.
It was the season of light, it was the season of darkness, it was the spring of hope, and it was the winter of despair. These words come straight from Charles Dickinson in his review of Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. Pokémon Scarlet and Violet are the newest Pokémon games, and unless you've been absent from the internet for the last few weeks, I'm sure you've seen the flood of glitches and issues with the game. Whether the character's eyes have a little happy time or the game straight up is incapable of rendering any of the Pokémon on the screen and then crashes. The broken game aside though, this game is one of the best Pokémon games I've ever played. And that's terrible. Pokémon Scarlet and Violet's story is one of the best stories of the 3D Pokémon era. Not necessarily a hard thing, but still. And it successfully took this game series from the monotone, one-way story of the past, which I still love and adore, to the new open-world future. This game sold 10 million copies in 3 days. And there are now 10 million people, at least, who are going to become addicted to the idea of this open-world Pokémon game. Outside of possibly making the best flow for a Pokémon game, this company has also created the worst performing Pokémon game ever. It struggles to load anything as it appears, and I can't confirm this, but I have heard through the grapevine that it's because the map is always fully rendered, kind of. If Xenoblade Chronicles or Breath of the Wild or even Mario Odyssey are able to run on the Switch, Pokémon should 100% be able to run well. Performance issues aside, again, this is still a Pokemon game. It has 8 gyms, an evil team, and legendary side quest and finale related to them. So let's talk about those things. The gyms in this game could use some work. They're incredibly easy, just like every gym leader since the beginning of Pokemon, but like they aren't smart at all. The AI is terrible for the gyms. These leaders aren't trying. I love the designs, except for Brashius, who is despicable. The teams could use some work outside of the design, and this also has to do with the AI. Like, let's look at Grush's team. He's the 8th gym leader in the game based on level. His Pokemon are the strongest. You can do them in any order, but, you know, he's got a Frostmoth, Beartix, Titan, and Altaria with the Ice-type, Terra-type. And that's my biggest problem with the game right there. That's my biggest design problem with the game when it comes to the battles and the team and the character design, is that Altaria. So Grush's Altaria is really cool as a base idea. And then it Terra types into the Ice type, which has possibly just been the type that's been swept by your Skeledirge, if you chose the Skeledirge, the Fuecoco starter. And that's the biggest issue, is that none of these gyms think about Terra typing, they are forced to. So we look at Rush's team. Altaria could be a counter, or at least it takes less damage from a fire type. Altaria's also got access to some fairy moves, so it can use those on something else that might be beating ice, like a fighting type, right? Altaria is a pretty mediocre counter to anything that beats ice, but it's not bad. But then you turn it into an ice type, and it still retains Whirlwind and some other moves that make it better against any other type, but it's not better. It loses all of its weaknesses, its resistances, and becomes an ice type, which is the weakest type in the game defensively. Like, there's just a lot going against it. So just, you know, but that's been a thing for every Pokemon game. Every gym has always had issues with AI, and every battle has issues with AI, and the Pokemon games are really easy, and that's okay, they're kid games. And I think that there are obvious ways to make the game more difficult. Pokemon Black and White had like a hard mode. I don't know why they never brought it back. It's brilliant. Move on from that though, and we'll talk about Team Star. They're new. I didn't like it that much. I think the characters are awesome. I think the development is pretty okay. The story is better than most Evil teams, especially in the 3D era. I mean, other than Team Skull, this is a pretty solid team just for like development, characters. they matter to the like overarching story. It's not just, hey, go beat the gyms, and also there's an evil team trying to kill everybody, so I guess you should stop that too. It's like, hey, go get the gyms, and also there's some kids you go to school with that are going to end up helping you meet someone who's going to help you catch Jigglypuff from the past, or Delibird, but he's a robot. So like it's integrated a bit better in the story, I think. I think my biggest problem though is that there's no Team Star grunt battles in the Team Star bases, and the Team Star grunt battle theme is perfect. But it all being in the Let's Go mode is just so boring. Like, at first it's like, oh, this is a unique gimmick, but then it's just like, oh yeah, let me press my bumper over and over and over again to send my Pokemon out and have it do all the work, and then send it back out. It's like the R button pressing simulator. And I mean, the final boss battles are more interesting thanks to like the bastardized Revavooms. But like all of them have Revavoom. If the fire type just had Revavoom, that makes sense. It's a car, it shoots fire, you make it a steel fire type or poison fire. I don't remember what type they removed from Revavoom. It's pretty cool. But then like the fairy type car, or the poison type car, or the fighting type car, what? It doesn't, like, I get that it's like an overarching, like, hey, we all have epic cars, but like, could have done more, in my opinion. Of course, I'm not a game developer, and I'm not Pokemon, and I'm not making a game every year, so, anyways. Also, I think the final fight against Cassiopeia is cool. And I think the gimmick of only having her VVs is kind of boring, but it's new, and I think that's important. It's not Golbat and like the dog of the region and the bird of the region. Like, it's some interesting different trainer setup for a Pokemon boss, like main villain, because that's what she is. She's like a main boss character. Like, she's the Giovanni of this game. Also, there are some Titan Pokemon, and I mean, they're big and cool, but I don't really care. Story's nice and cute. Redemption sick dog arc or something. I mean, here's the thing. I get it's cute. It's very wholesome. Voice lines and also better performing in-game cutscenes would have made it so much better. Instead of just like reading the text, go, Bud, oh no, right? Like, that's me saying it, and already I just added more value to it than me reading it and just in my head going, Bud, oh no, Bud, oh, you're good now, cool. Like, I don't know, even just, there's like 10 cutscenes in the game, max, that are animated with the words at the bottom, like real in-game, like out-of-engine cutscenes. Those should have voice acting at least. I mean, I really like Arven, though. He's like probably my favorite rival character. I think that Nimona and Penny are great and okay. I think Penny's okay. I love Nimona, actually. But Arven is like top tier. And he has that team design that I was talking about earlier. All of his Pokemon are based on food, because he's a chef. He makes sandwiches. Area Zero is like really cool. The music is really cool. The battles are really cool. The Paradox Pokemon are really cool. The AI, Seda Arturo, is really cool. Like, everything about Area Zero is like what I want the entire game to be. I want it to be me, story, cool new Pokemon, brilliant new music, awesome new battles, stakes, things that matter, gym every now and then. Get rid of the gym part, that's Area Zero. Like, I mean, in the end, there's a lot of yes, like, let's go, holy crap, this is what I've wanted for years. And a whole lot of like, oh, yeah, this is still a Pokemon game. I mean, it'll definitely go at the top of any Pokemon tier list I would make, in the same way Sword and Shield would, kind of. Sword and Shield, I thought were really good. Big 3D game, big open world. Crown Tundra was incredibly redeeming. And then Legends Arceus comes out, and I realize open world has a lot more it can do for me. And Sword and Shield wasn't good. I mean, they're not bad, they're not good, they're ugly. And so I think that we just gotta hope that the next game, or the DLC in the same way Crown Tundra, just keeps it going up on the list, that everything keeps getting better and better, and that we're able to see a redemption arc of sorts from this terrible performance of a Pokemon game that's actually the best Pokemon. Like, if this Pokemon game had come out and there were 0 performance issues, there were a couple of glitches, maybe just like some casual ones, like, oh, the duplication glitch, oh, you can clip through the wall right here if you do this and this and that. Classic like speedrunner and stuff that everybody finds out immediately. Sure. When the game crashes 5 times in a casual playthrough, that's not it. That's not it. So, I think if I were to grade it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give this one like a solid 8, 7.3. I think that it's really good. I think that it's the best Pokemon game, unfortunately. And I think that with less performance issues, this Pokemon game becomes like a generation, like a console-defining Pokemon game. Like, this game had come out completed, this would be the game that people would remember alongside the Switch. Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Those are the 3 you'd think of in 10 years when you think of the Switch. In the same way, when you think of the GameCube, it's Super Smash Bros. Melee, Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Sunshine, maybe Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, right? Maybe Pikmin if you're going for a deep cut. Nintendo Switch, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet would be up there. But because of these issues, I don't think, like, just performance issues kill it. They bring it down from a 10 out of 10, all like 3, 4 points, 6, 7. It's really difficult to get past them. And hopefully in the future, it'll be updated and we can get past them. And if not, hopefully the DLC doesn't bring more issues and they fix the issues so that the DLC runs smoothly at least. Wait, can I do the Sojak thing? Thanks for watching. The last 2 videos have gotten a lot more support than I ever thought any YouTube things I ever made would get. Got a new background because I moved everything just back into my room, unrelated to actual content things. But yeah, I hope that if you like this, you subscribe, you like it. If you're a new head, thanks for sticking around through these new videos, and thank you for joining us. And if you're an old head, thanks for being here for a while. I know there was probably 80 of you until recently, so thank you. And let's just hope that we can keep it up, because Pokemon YouTube seems to be treating me well. And also, I apologize for me looking over to this corner the entire time in every single video. This is just how my thing's set up, and it's really awkward to look up. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Anyways, thanks. See ya. And